What if your symptoms get worse? What if you're no longer able to take care of yourself or take care of your family? What if you're not able to get out of this and you're stuck like this forever? I know exactly how you feel when you're having these what if questions too. It's that sudden rush of adrenaline, or the sudden quickness of breath, or the tightness in your chest that just seems to come out of nowhere. I know exactly what you feel like because I've been there. That's exactly what I felt like when I was going through this as well. When I'm helping people recover, one of the big things I teach is how to respond to your symptoms. And just today, I was having a session with somebody and they were experiencing a lot of what if questions too. And I'm going to give you a bit of a case study in what they were doing wrong and what we found out was actually helpful. And this person, they said that in months and months of recovery, they'd never even thought of doing this before. And it gave them such a sense of relief and even made him excited for the next week or so, so he can sort of try it out and see how it goes. So I'm going to share with you exactly what that was. And with this person I was helping, let's call him Dave. That's not his real name, but just for the sake of this story. When I was helping Dave sort of do this, something which has come up a little bit is what if questions. So, what if I can't do this? What if I can do this? What if this happened? Just sort of all this stuff. And so Dave quickly learned how to respond to the symptoms. But what he found was that the what if ones, he still couldn't really respond to them. The whole idea of just letting them be and let it wash over you and just getting on with your day anyway, that wasn't really working. And so we did something that was really eye-opening for him that in months of recovery he hadn't even thought of doing. So you can do it too to help you with your recovery. And what it is to challenge the what if questions. So many people talk about just accepting it and just let it wash over you and all that. Sometimes you got to fight back, okay? Sometimes you have got to fight back and really question it and go, hang on a minute, is this actually true? And this is precisely what helped Dave. And if you're interested in deep diving into this a little bit more and learning a lot of other tools and skills that you need to know to reach full recovery from anxiety and all the symptoms, then go check out the Freedom course. It's got everything you need to recover from anxiety. So I'll give you an example, not specific to him, sort of something, an equivalent of, is that he would say, well, I'm worried that my symptoms are going to get worse, and so I won't be able to get to work. So what if my symptoms get worse? And what if I can't go to work and, pay off student loans or whatever it is? And I said to him, okay, fair enough, and we sort of talked about, well, what would happen if that did happen? And then I said to him, what if you were to recover next week? What if this week you slowly get better, next week you get even better, and then a week later you're completely fine? What happens if you're completely able to work and you're able to get all the money that you need for your student debt? And this was so profound for Dave because he'd never thought of it this way before. Because what you got to realize, right, is that when you're going through anxiety, particularly with the horrible symptoms like DPDR, is that you're seeing everything so badly. You're seeing everything through a negative lens. So of course you're going to naturally go to the worst case scenario of the what if. So what you need to do, because you don't realize this and you don't remember, is you've got to remind yourself, what's the actual reality of the situation? Why are you going to the worst extreme and not thinking about the best stuff? What if something amazing happens next week? What if I'm recovered and I'm back to my old self and I'm stronger than ever in a month's time? Do you ever think about that or ruminate on that? Of course you don't, because either you don't believe it or you're just so covered with anxiety and fear that there's just no room for that. Anxiety's not letting you think that. It wants you to think what it wants you to think. You challenge them. You get up and stand up and say, hang on a minute. No, 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 no. This is stupid. Why am I thinking this? So if you start to see the more positive stuff and more realistic stuff, and as soon as I started doing this, I noticed a big change, just because all that, the avalanche of thoughts that all those what if questions, the negative ones would bring, they weren't coming anymore. So not only was I stopping that, I was just stopping an avalanche of thoughts, and that cleared up space. And You know, it's amazing stuff, and it has really positive results. So my friends, I hope this has been useful to you, and until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.